This enterprise-wide employee wellbeing webinar is on processing pandemic growth. This webinar can be used to help process personal and professional pandemic growth. In addition, there are discussion questions if you would like to watch this webinar with colleagues to learn from one another. And as we think of the Mayo Clinic values, as we process pandemic growth with colleagues, it is an opportunity to extend the Mayo Clinic values of compassion and healing to one another. The objectives of this webinar are by the end, you'll be able to identify the values and strengths that supported growth through the pandemic, define post-traumatic growth, and identify the 5 domains on the post-traumatic growth inventory. To prepare us to focus on our own pandemic growth, let us reflect on the history of Mayo Clinic. Mayo Clinic was born out of adversity. On August 21st, 1883, a tornado swept through Rochester, injuring over 40 people. As a result of the tornado, Dr. William Worrell Mayo decided to take a dance hall and create a temporary hospital. He went to the convent to talk to Mother Mary Alfred Mose to see if the sisters could help and also supervise the nurses. Through that experience, Mother Alfred Mose had a brilliant idea that Rochester needed a hospital. In the little book of Mayo Clinic Values, it states, Mother Alfred went to Dr. Mayo with her idea and asked him to head the medical staff. The sisters earned and saved every cent they could. By constant labor and sacrifice, they raised the needed funds. St. Mary's was opened on September 30th, 1889. The sisters, most of whom had been trained as teachers, were thrust into the medical environment that was both unfamiliar and urgent, which sounds a little like the pandemic. But the sisters had their faith and willing to learn to become nurses. One of the resources that can help us process pandemic growth is an assessment called the Values in Action, or VIA, Survey of Character Strengths, developed by researchers Christopher Peterson and Martin Seligman. This is a free assessment that you can take online to identify your top values and strengths. Looking at the VIA of character strengths, what are the values and strengths that were displayed by Mother Alfred Mose and the Franciscan sisters, Dr. William Worrell Mayo and his sons? Some of the strengths we see are creativity, love of learning, perseverance, kindness, teamwork, leadership, humility, hope, spirituality, representing all the values. The history of Mayo Clinic shows how a team of people coming together using their values and strengths can help them grow and persevere through adversity and even create a benefit to help others, such as establishing Mayo Clinic. So what professional challenges did you encounter during the pandemic? For some, maybe it was moving to a remote work setting and even having children doing virtual school. For others, it may have been in the clinical setting, the demands of work, patient care, and even the threat of COVID. What were the values and the strengths that helped you to grow and persevere through the professional challenges you encountered? What values and strength helped you to collectively grow maybe on a team and persevere through challenges at work? How can you leverage your values and strengths personally and collectively for future challenges? In addition, think of how the Mayo Clinic values helped you personally or within a team setting to grow and persevere through the pandemic. Besides professional challenges, we encountered personal challenges. What personal challenges did you encounter during the pandemic? For me, one of the stressful events is when I had a family member who was really sick, not COVID related, and I needed to rush my family member to the emergency room. When I reached the front doors of ER, I was met by medical staff who said, sorry, but you cannot come in just due to COVID policy. As they wheeled my family member off, I just remember it was very stressful, and yet I had this overwhelming sense of gratitude for all the medical staff. A few hours later, I received a call from a physician letting me know my family member needed to be admitted to the hospital. And at that moment, I realized that all the medical staff are not only wearing the hats of medical experts, but they're also wearing the hat of being extended family to all the patients they cared for. And once again, I just had this overwhelming feeling of gratitude for all the medical staff that helped me to get through that stressful event. And so one of the strengths, gratitude, helped me to get through that stressor. So reflect on your own personal challenges. What values and strengths helped you to grow and persevere through challenges in your personal life? Another resource helpful for processing pandemic growth was developed by authors Richard Tedeschi and Lawrence Calhoun, called the Post-Traumatic Growth Inventory. Post-traumatic growth can be defined as positive psychological change experienced as the result of a struggle with a highly challenging life circumstances. This is the idea that as human beings, we are transformed by the encounters with life challenges that we face. Through their research and on the inventory, they identified 5 domains in which we can grow as the result of going through adversity. Here's a brief overview of the 5 domains and a time to reflect on how you've grown through the pandemic. Have you grown closer in relationships? I have a greater sense of closeness to others. I have more compassion for others. And the positive coping mechanism that we can develop as a result of that is reaching out to others. Research shows that when we have supportive family, friends, colleagues, it can help decrease our stress and navigate through adversity. Have you grown in new possibilities? I established a new path, new opportunities available which would not have been available otherwise. And the positive coping mechanism we can develop through that is exploring new priorities and goals. I can really resonate with this area because as a result of the pandemic, I had new opportunities to work with a variety of different departments on projects, such as creating care boxes to say thank you to the healthcare employees. In many ways, the pandemic has created unexpected benefits, such as establishing new ways of working or new collaborations with others. Third domain, have you grown in personal strength? I know better that I can handle difficulties. I discovered that I'm stronger than I thought I was. And the positive coping mechanism that we can use is applying our personal strengths, such as the VIA survey of character strengths can help you identify what are your strengths and how to use them through adversity. Have you grown in spiritual change? I have a stronger faith. I have a better understanding of spiritual matters. And the positive coping mechanism that we can develop is spiritual practices or heightened awareness of spirituality. And lastly, reflect. Have you grown in appreciation of life? I changed my priorities about what is important. I can better appreciate each day. And the positive coping mechanisms we develop through that is just greater reflection on gratitude or what we value or brings most meaning in our life. And so webinar discussion questions. From the VIA character strengths, what values and strengths helped you to personally and professionally grow and persevere through challenges? What Mayo Clinic values helped you to grow and persevere through challenges? How can you leverage your values and strengths personally and collectively for future challenges? From the post-traumatic growth inventory, what areas have you grown in through the pandemic? Have you developed deeper and closer relationships, new possibilities and opportunities, a greater sense of personal strengths, spiritual change or enhancement, or greater appreciation for life? And lastly, how can the pandemic be a catalyst for growth and change at work? What new ideas, collaborations, resources, processes can individuals, work units, team create as a result of pandemic growth? Resources for you. The Values in Action Survey of Character Strengths is a free assessment online. The Post-Traumatic Growth Inventory is also a free inventory online. The Employee Assistance Program, and the Mayo Clinic Wellbeing website. If you have questions, please send an email to wellbeing@mayo.edu. Thank you.